Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. Let's get started with our hosts, Linda McKissack and Dana Gentry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. I'm Linda McKissack.
And I'm Dana Gentry.
Hey, Dana. I feel like it's been forever, but it
I
hasn't.
know. And, well, it's been 2 weeks, I guess. I mean, I saw you in Texas, but it's been a while since we recorded a podcast. But it is so crazy. I have been like around the world, I feel like lately, not really, but and everywhere I go, everyone just loves the podcast. I mean, it's even like Adam's having a coaching retreat in Charleston yesterday and today, so he's got a bunch of coaches here. And I mean, they're like, we never miss an episode, and it's so funny. Maria DePoche, I love her. She's so cute. You know her. You would know her if you saw her. She's from the Virginia region. She said, really, you all have just been my mentors for the last 4 years.
I mean, every time I hear that, because I get the same thing. I was just in Oklahoma last week and got the same thing. Does that kind of make you go, oh, crap, we got to up our game?
Every time. Yeah.
Every time. I'm like, okay, we got to really get really good at this.
I know, but it does make me laugh because I'm like, at least they're getting stuff from us instead of just what to buy and on Amazon and stuff, like you said that one.
Oh yeah, which is so funny. I've sent you a text because last week Terry Foster wanted us to meet with two of her top agents, and we were in Oklahoma, so we were going around meeting with the top couple agents, or 3 or 4 or whatever. So Terry had us meet with her 3. I can't wait to ask her, hey, how'd you like what they wound up doing afterwards? But somehow we got on my red light face mask and my neck mask, and they're like, wait, what? So before we know it, they are buying, well, 2 things. They're buying the red light face mask, the neck mask. But the good news is they're starting to, I sent them some Chris Hodges podcast. So I do feel good about that. But I thought, oh my God, Terry is going to kill me. So I sent him a text later and I said, I promise, ladies, I will teach y'all how to make more money, not just spend more money. So I texted you and said, oh God, Terry's going to kill me. I don't think that's what she had in mind.
I love it.
Jimmy was in the room too, and he had the guy over here, and I don't know what all kind of plans they were making to do good stuff. But
hopefully he gave him some making money tips.
I hope so, because Jimmy's like, when did you do all that? And I'm like, oh, just don't even worry about it. It happened fast.
Well, it was funny because also yesterday on the top leader mastermind that Gary Keller and Jason Abrams led, Gary was talking about a podcast he was listening to, and he said, I listened to this. I can't remember which one it was, actually. He said, I listened to that podcast, and I listened to Dana and Linda's, everyone. So I do feel like I do feel like we should maybe even title this episode The One for Gary Keller, because Gary said we needed to do more market stats and updates and predictions. And we've got a whole list of ones for this one. So this one will be pretty real estate specific, but man, has the data changed. And I taught this to my top 20% the last 2 weeks in the region. And a lot of them were blown away by some of this, really blown away.
Yep. Okay, let's go.
So we're just going to dive into it. Okay. So I'm going to give a little bit of the reports from 2025 and then the predictions for 2026. So I will say December trended up, and I actually just had a Zoom last week with the executives from KWRI, and they said GCI was up in December, higher than it had been the last 4 years. Like, we had a great December, which will kind of lead into 2026. So most economists and predictions are saying modestly positive data shows 2026 will be an increase, but then plant now for a really strong 2027. And another reason for that is because a key indicator are purchase applications, and purchase applications were up 16% in December year over year, which tells us buyers are out there.
Yeah.
Which is, really good.
I was reading something about since December, there's 25% more people interested in buying and selling than there was before. And it's probably because of the interest rates, but yeah.
But I was thinking back too, and the one thing that Gary has really always taught us is the market goes up and the market goes down. I mean, and you and I, can you believe this is my 20th year, by the way? I'm like, this is insane. I can't believe this is my 20th year.
This is my 40th year.
Oh, so we're exactly solid numbers, really?
Yes. This year is my 40th year in the business and my 30-something year with Keller Williams.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Crazy.
So, both of us have seen it, definitely you, and it is true. There are times, and, I was having a call with an operator last week, and she said, I feel like I might need to stop being an OP. And she has always had great offices. And I said, what, tell me why you feel that way. And we kind of kept talking through it. And then I said, honestly, I love you and I'm your friend. So I'm going to be really honest. It's hard right now. Like, we're not in a
Do
super
you
high
think she
market.
was saying that because her business was getting busier? Or do you think she was saying that because being an OP was getting harder?
Yeah,
Why
she's
did she
saying
say
it
that?
because they've made a lot less money over the last
Oh,
couple
yeah.
of years,
Yeah.
and the market's slow. I mean, their market is extremely slow right now.
Yeah.
And so she just said the market is so slow, it's so much harder, blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, and but honestly, it's not going to always be this way. I mean, it was slow and
Well, and if you listen to really smart people, what they do is other people are thinking about that too. It's a time to cash in and buy other
then,
people. And,
yeah,
I've been working on my challenge this year for people to start setting bigger goals
yeah,
because, and Gary has said this for years. That's why he wrote the Millionaire Agent book and everything else, is because when you set your goals so high, there's some magic to what they do.
yeah.
I was talking to the Northwest region the other day. Somebody canceled last minute and they asked me would I just do a 10-minute quick talk with them. And the main thing I was saying to them is, look, when things are tough or we've been in a rut or it's going backwards, set a bigger goal.
Yeah.
Because if we set a bigger goal, we stop trying to solve that problem the way we've solved all other problems, because it won't work. And so we've really been focusing on that. And I think if you listen to really smart people,
Yeah.
they buy when people are selling and they
Well,
sell when people
yes.
are buying. And they do the opposite. And so if we're going to be committed to being business people, and what I hate about that is she's going to go chase cash flow
Yeah.
instead of something that could be long-term wealth. So
Well,
yeah,
hopefully she's not, because by the time we got off the call, I said, you need to go buy the two that are around you that are struggling and make it to where you have five, because you can lessen your expenses, you can share expenses, you can share your talent across all the ones.
yes,
And I said, truthfully, I walked her through. If you think back, it's nothing but different than the 4 C's. I mean, she needs to go make another big commitment, quite
yes.
frankly.
One that absolutely she thinks she's lost her mind,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. The
There's no way.
moment. And I also shared with her, and I shared this with my top 20%. I'll never forget one time Gary said this in a mastermind, and he said when the market shifts and everybody is, freaking out and they're never going to sell another house again or whatever that looks like, he said, I always know the ones that are going to come out with more market share than what they had, because they're the ones that have prepared for that moment, and they're going out and taking all the billboards, they're doing all the direct mail, they're going now, of course, all in on social media, you would say, instead of pulling back and saying, oh, I'm not going to spend money like everybody, everybody's freaking out. They put all their eggs in and they go all in, and they always take more market share than what they had before.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I'm a little concerned if the market changes and gets back as rapid as it was.
Yeah.
Because I think the agents who aren't making it right now are just sitting around waiting for the market to change, and they're not learning the skills of how to take market share in this market, and they're not learning the skills that, because if they stay in this business long enough, they're probably going to have 2 or 3 different markets,
Yeah.
and they require different skills. And if they immediately go back to just taking orders, which I don't know that it's going to necessarily do that right away, but if they went back to that, they stopped thinking about what skills do I need? How do I take market share
Yeah.
when everybody else is thinking it's impossible?
Yeah, so true. It's so true. So, okay, listen to a couple of these stats from last year, because they blew my mind. So, according to NAR, the median sales price now is $405,000. For the first time in history, it broke $400,000. Never been that high.
Man.
So it is to say that a lot of our top agents who are doing all the business, some of them are having the best. I mean, my top 4 agents in my offices last year was the best year they've ever had in real estate.
Yep.
And they, at the volume has not dropped. Now, this one shocked me. Of all buyers in 2025, the median age for repeat buyers, so not first-time home buyers, repeat buyers, 62 years old.
Oh my gosh.
And then get this, the number one reason, and I think this has to do with that age being 62 is the repeat buyer median age. The number one reason, 19% of buyers last year moved only to be closer to family.
Oh, I am seeing that. It's like,
it's a trend.
well, yeah, who is the speaker that Gary had at the CEO event? Liz.
Liz Bohannon.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and what's funny is I even feel my own self feeling that urge to,
Yeah,
you know, be
because
in community with people I want to be around and all that stuff. So I am definitely seeing that, which
yeah.
I wish because of that, I wish there would be a bunch of family that wanted to move back to Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky
Yes.
instead of move away from those states.
Yeah, same.
Dana, Dana.
I know. Hint, hint. Hey, I do still have a house there. So 19% wanted to be closer to family, by far the top reason. Reason number 2, they moved for a neighborhood preference change. They wanted to be in a specific neighborhood, which, is okay. But then number 3 is proximity to work. And they said that that's
Mm-hmm.
basically because of the 2024 to 2025 return to work orders. So many
Yeah,
people were virtual. And
yeah.
I even felt that when we were in Austin at KWRI, I was walking around and I was like, man, it actually feels great to see everyone in their cubicles and
Yeah.
just like all in their offices. I mean, it's just a different energy. So return to work made proximity to work number 3. So they're definitely moving if they are having to go back into the office to work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, the second stat on home buyers last year, 61% were married couples. And then get this, 21%, the highest it has ever been by far, single women.
Really?
Single women are buying homes.
Wow.
Major. Yeah, the highest it's absolutely ever been. Only 9% single men. And then this one, really, I knew this was going to be the case, but still, only 21% of all the homes sold last year were first time home buyers. It was a historic low. The normal is normally 40%. So it's half of what the normal is. And the average first time home buyer age last year ended at 40 years old.
Good Lord. Isn't
It
that
was, I
crazy?
went back and looked, it was 22 when I got into the business. 23, I'm sorry, 23 when I got into the business was first time home buyer age. So
Mm.
it's gone up. And then that also goes back to one thing that Gary taught us, which is that uh prices have risen, right? But people's incomes haven't risen that high
Mm-hmm.
in that fast of a time frame. So I think it's probably that. And then of course, student loan debt is the highest that it's ever been. So that's got to come into play.
Well, and for the first time too, remember there was a couple of years too where the employees had the upper hand, and employees were actually changing jobs every 2 years so they could demand more money.
More money. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I know. I think I've told you this because I've been so distraught about Carrie wanting to retire after 24
Yes.
years with us. We're like, no, please. We stayed in denial a couple of years that she even wanted to retire. We're like, oh, we're just going to ignore her and maybe that thought will go away. But we do have to get real about it. And I am shocked. And I told my assistant, I said, look, I don't want to see any resumes. If they hop around, they've been a couple of years, I'm not interested. This girl's been with us 24 years. I want some people that are loyal and that want a job. And it's interesting because there was a trend with people that, and especially young people, that they knew if they just switched jobs, they'd get a pay raise, right? And so it's kind of interesting because when I look at a resume, that's one of the first things I look at is how long did they stay somewhere?
Yeah. Are they constantly switching all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's usually a red flag for me, for sure. If they've had.
yeah, yeah, because I don't want to go through this over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, totally. Well, another good piece of news on buyers is 88% of buyers last year purchased their home through a realtor. Now, the why they used a realtor has changed.
Mm.
50% is to find them the home now. And over the last few years, that hasn't been the case. And it was interesting. This became a hot topic during my top 20%. I had about 80 in the room, and it was such a great conversation in Columbus, Ohio. And they said it's interesting because over the last several years, buyers would find their home on the internet, send it to their agent and say, this is the one I want. Well,
Yeah.
now that inventory, has changed, and the market is a little bit different now. 50% of them actually said, okay, I'm working with you because I want you to find me the home. I'm not going to find it myself. 13% to negotiate the terms of the deal, 12% to negotiate the price, and 7% for paperwork help. But what that told us, Linda, is that over negotiating the price, they care more about the terms, because right now the trends are saying that buyers, their number one fear is making a mistake. They don't want to buy, a lemon or so like when it comes to home inspections and all that stuff, they're worried. They do not want to make a mistake. And so they believe that hiring a realtor will help prevent them from making a mistake, which of course we agree with.
Well, because think about it, if they have less money, they don't have any money after they move in the house for anything.
That's right.
So they
Yeah,
can't
because they're
afford to
already
have
paying
something
at
be
the
wrong.
top.
Yeah, they don't have any money for anything left over.
Yeah. The average buyer search time is 10 weeks now. And my agents all agreed with that. They all said, we feel like that's about right. They're searching for almost 3 months until they're finding the one. And then switching to sellers just real quick. So that interesting. So 91% of sellers sold with a realtor. Only 5% were FSBO last year. So those are great
Mhm.
numbers.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see FSBOs kind of go for a minute. They were hot, because
Yeah.
there was just no
Mhm.
inventory, but that's gone now. But the main needs of a seller from a realtor, this doesn't shock me, but it kind of did. The number one reason that they're hiring a realtor right now is to market their home the best that it can possibly be marketed. And
Yeah,
so,
because
yeah, so we spent a lot of time talking about this. I mean, and you can tell, Linda, the agents that are marketing at a really high level, they are taking massive amounts of market share.
in a seller's mind, I mean, this has been the case. I've been in this business 40 years. The seller, when the market gets tight, they immediately want to know what you're doing for
What are you doing
marketing.
for me? Yep.
And honestly, you have to get really good at showing them actually the statistics of what is actually working. Because I used to laugh and say, God, they want you to put an ad in the Wall Street Journal. And, I'd have to say, look, not a single percentage of, of
Oh,
our sales came from Wall Street Journal or something like that to that
yeah.
effect. So, I think you have to also get very, very conscious of what marketing actually is working so that when they start wanting you to do something crazy, you can show them the stats of what works and what doesn't work and say, look, I can spend money where you want me to spend money, or I can spend money where it's proven the stats tell us it's going to help sell your home. Which one do you want?
Yeah, and I do think that's so true. And I think there's another really important thing to just bring up here, and I keep like pounding this in the heads of my agents over and over and over. You cannot outmarket a bad price. And
Mm-mm,
and
no way.
price is it right now. So I mean, if
Yeah.
and the market start determining the price, you can be. My agents are like, we would say we're nobody runs comps better than we do, and we're still getting it wrong. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's just the market. But I keep telling them, like, if you do not have the right price, don't dump thousands into the marketing because you cannot outmarket a bad price.
Yep.
So number one need of sellers is to market their home, over number two to help price it competitively, and then number three, get it sold within a certain time frame. So they care more about the marketing than they actually even do pricing it competitively, which is interesting to me. So all of that, bottled up, kind of leads into lots of different predictions for next year. Dr. Lawrence Yun from NAR, the economist, came out with a bold prediction. He's predicting home sales increase 14% this year.
Mm.
I think that's a little high, so we'll see. But I think on average, I think Ruben. Well, I know we'll get all this at family reunion. I think he was saying 6%. I think I
Mm-hmm.
need to go back and find that in my notes.
Yeah.
It was either 4 to 6% of increase in home sales, but yeah, Dr. Yoon is predicting 14%, which is high, and then rates stay somewhere between 5 and 6%. Which I thought that kind of went in line with Chris Arnecki's theme of hope for a better 2026, but plant now for a strong 2027. And I do
Yeah.
think that's in line. I believe that that's accurate.
Yeah, totally. And
December,
you could feel the difference once they dropped even just barely down into the fives.
yes. And December, this recent December 2025 was the strongest December that we've had in 3 years. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it is ticking up, which is great. So I don't know. I think those are all really important stats, and the reason why I shared them with our top people and we're sharing them today is if agents don't understand this and they don't really know why their clients are hiring a real estate professional or what they're looking for in hiring, they're going to miss the boat.
Well, and I think too, in preparation for all of that, they should be asking every person that's they're about to do business with is when's the last time you did a real estate transaction? Because, and if they're moving from a different area, they may be experiencing something completely different. We know how the market is so local driven that we always say be the local economist. It's because you got to figure out what their perspective is and where are they getting their information.
Yep.
Is it the news? Is it a neighbor? Is it from
Instagram.
yeah, Instagram, a transaction they did, up in another state for their parents' house. I mean, so getting really clear about understanding what do they understand or know about the current market, because your first battle might be getting to get them to understand and be realistic about what is really happening in their market.
Yeah.
And, and it may not be what they expect. And
Yeah.
so if your expectations aren't the same, then you're going to have a problem with that buyer or seller
Yeah.
because they're going to be thinking it's one way and you're going to have to be educating them that it's another.
Yep, totally agree. And one thing that I'm trying to see if I have it in my bag. I think I might have given all of the ones away that I had. But just doing also, what Gary, I think I gave them all away. Doing also what he's always taught us, which is like having your bag of tricks or your bag of goodies. Like I have them.
Newspaper articles.
Yes, go armed with this stuff. I mean, we gave all of our top agents the updated annual interest rate 1-pager graph laminated to say, keep this in your back pocket and whip it out. And if they're saying these rates are still too high, no, actually at 6, they're under the last 30-year national average of 7%. Like if you're waiting, I don't know what you're waiting for because this is better than what's average. But, they don't, if they can see that physically, okay, here's all the last 30, 40 years of data, then it's more likely to click with them instead of their agent just saying, no, they're the lowest. You better go ahead and do it now.
We talk about this all the time, but we are really back in a market where you have to bring people from emotion to logic. And there's nothing better to do that than stats and printed information. And so I remember back in the days when Gary would say, here's what I carry around in my bag. And it would be in the newspaper. And this was for recruiting too, newspaper articles. He had his spiral notebook, and then he had his 30-day at a glance calendar. I remember sitting on a plane with somebody one time with my stuff just like that. And he's like, are you going to get like with the 21st century? You don't do. And I said, look, as long as this works for the richest guy I know personally, I'm going to keep doing it. If he lets me know he changes, I'm going to change too. But right now it's working for the guy that I look up to and I listen to. So I'm going to stick with it.
When I taught for Annie and Leslie Peters for their 9 offices 2 weeks ago, that pulled out as an example. I was talking about intentionality with your time, and I pulled out my 30-day at a glance, paper calendar. They were shocked. The whole room was like, "Are you for real?" And I'm like, "Hey, it works for the people that I know that have the life I want to have. So I'm not stopping. Like I'm still sticking with it too." But it's true. I mean, sometimes we just have to be reminded of some of those things to not necessarily say go back to the old ways because there are modernized things, but also some of those things work, and that's one of them. Have the data, have the proof, like have the stuff so that you can be ready to show, because we are seeing there are agents, like we said, having the best years they've ever had, and then we've got some that they're struggling, and I think it's a combination of they're not doing the activity. They are, like you said earlier, they're kind of thinking that everything's going to change and be like it was, and it's just going to be a big burst of busyness again. But I think for a few years it looks like we're going to be in a skill-based market, not a speed-based market, and I worry about the ones that aren't getting with the program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Well, and I think there's pros and cons in every market. And I've always thought every time Gary has a panel up, I've been going to every mega camp and family reunion he's ever had. And when they get the people up on the stage, I go, yep, we did that, but it was through this newspaper. It was that, it was a billboard. It was this. I mean, those kind of things don't really change, but the tools you use to do it will. And that should actually give everybody peace.
Yeah.
Because the piece about it is some things are just tried and true and they never change. It's just how you implement them might change.
Yes.
You have a new tool or vehicle to do something. Like you don't have to advertise in the newspaper anymore, but you do have to be probably maybe on social media, and you do have to be marketing somehow. And I remember years ago, whenever I would started out with Mike Ferry, and I just couldn't take, how brutal he was to everybody. And I just felt like he picked a topic that he knew is like whipping a dog. They were always going to have to come back with their whipping because they weren't going to want to do it, And what's funny is I was like, well, what is he doing? And he did prospect and make cold calls, but he also marketed. And honestly, the top people in his group were marketing. They just weren't brave enough to say it out loud. And so I just went to building a brand that when people in my city thought of real estate, they thought of me, and marketing has worked hundreds of years.
It. Yeah.
That's still it,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just, again, I think go learn the skills. get these stats, use them in your listing presentations, know
Yeah.
the economy, your local economy, and maybe even know some kind of what's going on other places, but mainly know what's going on in your area. And you're going to sound different than anybody else that shows up there at their appointment. That's what I love about having these tools that Ruben and Gary put up on Connect all the time for us to download and use. Uh, and it makes you look different than everybody else when you're on those
It
appointments.
does. Well, and I can tell you, and I know there's other leaders that do the same thing. We were just talking about Anna doing this too, as well, which is amazing. Um, the leaders that aren't doing this and bringing this to their people, I mean,
Yeah.
somebody else
Yeah.
is. And I had
Yeah.
a lot of guests in the room when I taught this, and I know it's because they're not getting it at their current brokerage, and they're seeking it.
Yep. Yeah. So true. Yeah. And we it was actually this week. I forgot we came home a day early because of the ice warning or storm or whatever is supposed to be coming. But anyway, we were in Oklahoma all week, and Anna taught this, stats and different things to the people. And there were guests in the room, and there were even our own people, quite honestly, didn't know. They didn't know we had it, and they didn't know how to use it.
Mm-hmm. I
So
think
I
that's
agree.
actually a really good point, which is why I felt convicted when Gary said, "Why are you all not talking about updates and real estate stats on your podcast?" I'm like, okay, good point. Because a lot of people might even see this on the internet or, in a reel or whatever, but if they don't break it down like we just did of the why it's important, then they're just, what's the word? They're just whatever the data, they're not interpreting the data. And so
Yeah.
I think that that's a big difference.
Yeah. And, I think that this data helps you understand as an
Mhm.
agent, but there's also plenty of market data out there that helps you help your consumer understand. And that's what Gary puts on Connect and Ruben puts on Connect, and some of the stuff that Anna pulled down about unemployment and just
Yeah.
the thing. You need to be aware of those things and the different markets throughout the country.
Yeah.
One state from another is, they're different markets. And so how to explain that to a seller and what it means to them, or a buyer and what it means to them, that stuff's super important.
Yeah.
And so if you can, have that, you're going to sound different. And certainly you're going to give your customers a lot more confidence that they
Mhm.
should be working with you.
Yeah. Well, one thing you just thought of maybe or said made me think of this. This will make you happy. You said you wish Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. One of your and I's favorite people who has never missed a podcast episode, Steve Rupp. He's here in Charleston right now at the
Awesome.
thing. Yeah, he's been staying at our house, and he said last night that they just released that Indianapolis is supposed to be like the number one city for growth, something or another in 2026. So he was pumped. I said, Linda will be so happy to hear that.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy we have a winning team. I'm so happy that people are moving into Indianapolis.
Yes.
I'm just happy about all of it.
I know. Well, if you are an agent, I hope that you take these and if you need any help, reach out. We're happy to help, but take these and implement and put them back. And leaders listening, just we encourage you to learn these also and be teaching these to your agents and being able to understand them so that you can interpret for your agents.
Yeah, and maybe Dana, if you can find that sheet that you gave to your agents, hopefully you didn't
Yeah.
give the last one away. Let's link that so they can kind of get an idea, a
Sheet.
picture of,
Yeah,
of what.
absolutely. Although don't, and we can link that, Linda, and we will. And also, I'm assuming we will get an updated one at family reunion too.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we can get an updated one too. And then I do have to read you this super funny thing before we close. I know everybody's supposed to be getting this crazy weather over the next week or whatever.
I mean, my pot of soup is sitting on the stove. I had my sister. I said, "Hey," I knew it was going to get cold. And I texted my sister. My sister works for me. She loves to cook and clean and all the things that I don't love to do. So I texted her earlier in the week. Said, "Hey, we're going to get home on Friday. Would you make us a big pot of soup? Jimmy likes stew meat. I like hamburger meat in it. Just give us a big pot of soup." And so I texted her and said, "Hey, we're coming home early. Our career vision class, Mark canceled. We're not going to have that. So we're coming home Thursday. Can you make it for Thursday?" So I'm so excited because when I get through today, this at lunch, I'm going to go get my big pot of soup. And
I'm
she said
so jealous.
she said the grocery stores were already totally empty.
Oh,
She had to go to like 5 grocery stores to get Jimmy's stew meat that he wanted. And then she eventually had to get a roast and make it herself.
because
So
you're supposed to get snow, aren't you, in Dallas?
ours will probably be ice. I don't
Ice.
know. Does any weatherman ever really know? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. It's wild, but this is the funniest thing that somebody sent me on Instagram this morning, and I was like, "Oh, I got to tell Linda it's a little Barbie, and she's got this big puffer coat on in snow, and it says, if you've ever said I'll do that when hell freezes over, you're scheduled to do that this week."
Oh, that's great. I love it. That's funny. That's true. That's true. Well, last time we had a big freeze here, we weren't home and 5 of our pipes burst, and we were in a condo.
I remember that.
Paid by the insurance company for 9 months. So we have got all things prepared this time. So anyway, everybody stay warm out there. And remember, if you have not hit the subscribe button, please go ahead and do that now. And the greatest compliment you can pay Dana and I is 2 things. 1, pass this podcast along to anyone that you think would benefit from our conversations. And number 2, if you have a subject, topic, if you have a suggestion like Gary Keller had for us and you would like to give it to us, or if you have a challenge or an opportunity or a guest that you'd love for us to interview, be sure and reach out to us at info@everything life and real estate. And Gary, if you're listening, thank you for the idea, and we'll do more market updates.
That's right. We will. See you next time.
See you next time, Dana.
Be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to inspire you to live an abundant real estate life. Don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you the best content. Find this and other valuable information at everythinglifeandrealestate.com.